Good evening and welcome to the Ozarks Amateur Radio Society 2-meter net. This is W0ZAC, Whiskey 0 Zulu Alpha Charlie, net control for tonight's net. My name is Zach, Zulu Alpha Charlie Hotel, and I'm located in Mount Vernon. This net meets every Tuesday evening at 7 p.m. local time on the W0 OAR repeater at a frequency of 146.97 with a negative offset PL tone of 162.2. This net is also available on NetLogger for all who wish to check in early. While this is not an emergency net, it can be interrupted at any time if there is emergency traffic. If there is any emergency or priority traffic, please call now. Hearing none, I will move on to announcements of interest to amateur radio. The Ozarks Amateur Radio Society meets on the second Saturday of the month at the Happy House Restaurant in Monette. The meeting begins at 7 p.m., but you're welcome to come at 6 p.m. to eat and enjoy some good conversation before the meeting begins. Individuals pay for their own meal, but of course you don't have to eat to attend the meeting. All are welcome, including family members and those interested in amateur radio. The next meeting at the Happy House will be Saturday, September 19th, not August. Saturday, September the 19th. August 12th will be the OARS Club annual picnic and meeting at White Park in Aurora. Please bring a side dish and have your own eating utensils with you. We plan to eat around 5 p.m. On August 19th, the OARS Club will hold a tailgate ham fest at White Park in Aurora, across from the bowling alley in the open parking lot. Bring your own shade. Vendors will pay $20 for a space to sell, and we plan to run from 7 a.m. to 3 o'clock p.m. More to follow. Hams and Eggs, the OARS Saturday morning breakfast meetup during the month of August will be held at the Aurora Family Restaurant, Family Restaurant at 7:30 a.m. OARS is now operating 3 regular nets. The D-Star net, Monday evening at 8 p.m. local time on the 444.150 repeater. The 2-meter net, Tuesdays at 7 p.m. local time, right here on 146.970. And a Simplex net on the first Saturday of the month, that's been adjusted, Simplex net every Thursday at, I believe it's 8 p.m., correct me if I'm wrong, on 146.460. Lastly, this net is being streamed live on the 59 Radio YouTube channel, so if you want to hear how you sound on the air, or if you missed part of the net, you can go to 59radio.com for details and a link to the channel. I will now begin taking check-ins, and we'll start with short-time, low-power, or mobile stations. So how about it? Short-time, low-power, or mobile stations, please come with your call sign, both phonetically and the regular way, W0ZAC. Nothing heard. We'll try it one more time. Any short-time, low-power, or mobile stations, please call now. Okay, nothing heard a second time. We'll move on to our NetLogger check-ins. First up on the list is KF0NIG. Castle, good evening.
Good evening to you too. This is KF0NIG. I'm not doing a whole lot tonight. Hope everybody is doing well on the net. Just been doing some yard work and having a barbecue tonight. Burgers and steak.
It's pretty warm out, but not as bad as it has been. Be a good night for barbecue.
Well, we're just trying to cook up some food for the next couple days so we don't have to cook anymore in this heat. Do you know anything?
Nope, nothing new going on this direction. Same old, pretty typical Tuesday around here. Glad it wasn't quite as hot today as it has been.
Well, that's just good. We've had to put more topsoil on the corn today, and we're going to pick more out of the garden here later. But I don't really have anything much else to provide to the net tonight. Just, I can hear you well, and that's a good thing. This is KS0NIG73 to ya.
Very well. Thanks for checking in tonight. You're sounding great as well. We'll say 7-3 and jump down to our next net logger check-in, AE0OC. Good evening, Wes.
Well, hello, Zach, and everyone on the net. Hope everybody's doing well tonight. And thanks for running the net. So, I guess first of all, I want to ask you how your vehicle shopping went tonight. And hopefully you found something you want and were able to make a decent deal out of it. But if not, I guess the search will go on. Still have my granddaughter here. We were without power until 8 o'clock this morning from the storm that rolled through Sunday night. And I'll tell you what, it has been miserable and hot and just not a fun situation at all. And it also kind of interrupted her studies for her ham test she's going to be taking on Friday. So hopefully she'll still have enough time to get studied up for that. But other than that, I can't think of a whole lot else that has been going on around here.
Well, sure am glad you got the power back on. It's uncomfortable, to say the least, this time of year. And I heard about your success with the battery and inverter, so that's great. On the truck front, yeah, interesting deal. That Expedition that we owned for, I don't know, 6 years or so, the fellow that sold it to us has been wanting it back the whole time we've had it. And I was in the mood to trade vehicles, and he just happened to have a 2011 Yukon that he wasn't using. He's, as far as I know, a single guy, and he's got 3 vehicles, so he really didn't need it, wanted to sell it. So we upgraded to his Yukon, and we're selling the Expedition back to him.
Well, that sounds like a deal that makes everybody happy then. And so, all right, well, that's a good deal. Hope it lasts well for you and serves your family well. But I guess I'll let you move on down. And like I said, I'm glad it worked out that you ran the net tonight, because I wasn't paying attention to what was going on Slack. I had my son and his girlfriend over here, and just wasn't really paying any attention to the computer or my phone. And so, AE0OC, back to you, Zach.
Alrighty, thanks for checking in, Wes. Yeah, I kind of jumped the gun asking for help. Wasn't sure if I was going to make it, but we rolled in with plenty of time, so I was able to get everything put together and get net logger going in plenty of time. 7-3 Wes, we'll talk at you later, and jump down to our next net logger check-in, KE0MAD. Sean, good evening.
Yeah, good evening, Zach. Everybody on the net. Thanks for running the net. Wes, we're gonna. I don't know how to tell you this, but you know, on Slack, you're considered a slacker, but you're a slacker when you're not on Slack too. I guess you're a slacker either way. Nothing going on here, man. It was a hot day. I was outside most of the day, and I am burnt to a crisp. I hope everybody has been staying cool today. I know Wes's house is kind of dehumidifying at the moment, so hopefully that works out and house gets a little more comfortable pretty quick there. Anyway, nothing else here. Again, thanks for doing the net, and hope everybody stays cool this week. This is K0MAD.
Alrighty, Sean, thanks for checking in tonight. Yeah, it was some storm we had. I had several not several, a couple employees that live over in Golden City, and they just got clobbered over there. One of the guys told me this morning that they had recorded 105-mile-an-hour winds. I'm assuming that was a gust, but nonetheless, it looked like a war zone over there. Sean, thanks again for checking in. We'll say 7-3 and jump down to our next net logger check-in, K0SQS. Good evening, Harold.
W0ZAC and the rest of the net, K0SQS. Good evening. Well, I'm glad you're running the net tonight. Talking about damage from the windstorm, the tree that keeled over and caught the corner of my workshop has got to be 100 years old. I didn't stop to count the rings today. It was too hot to stand out there in the sun and count them. But the diameter of that tree at the base was at least 5 feet. So, and it was an oak. So the concentric lines were really close together. Anyway, worked all day cleaning up damage from the storm, and had a crew there sawing up the tree and hauling it off. They took three big truckloads and trailer loads out, and still got a bunch to carry out. Anyway, I'm supposed to have the insurance adjuster there tomorrow morning at 10:15 or 10:30, I think he said, and take a look at the damage and tell me what I'm going to do or what I'm going to get from insurance. But regardless, I got to get the building closed back up. So that's job number one before it rains again. Anyway, that's all I've been doing. Just trying to keep my head above water. Back to you, W0ZAC, K0SQS. Thanks again for running the net, Zach.
Alrighty, Harold. Thanks for checking in tonight. That's a bummer to hear you had some damage there. Hopefully you can get that remediated sooner rather than later. Harold, thanks for checking in. We'll say 7-3 and jump down to our next net logger check-in, KE6GAE. David, how are you?
W0ZAC, this is KE6GAE. Well, doing about as good as I can after taking a lightning strike to my 05 antenna. And there was no coax ran up to the house yet. Still trying to get it all set up, but there was some satellite coax that was still running underground. It jumped down to that and ran up to the house and lost the TV. I got an open circuit on an electrical run that I got to fix now. Lost a garage door opener, a few other things. Other than that, at least it didn't burn the house down or get a direct strike on the house. And I was lucky enough to keep power, so I know what it's like to be without power and heat. Other than that, thanks for running the net, Zach. Don't have a whole lot. I just barely made it in here in time because I was actually doing some work on from that strike. We'll pass it back to net control. KE6GAE, back to net control.
Well, Dave, thanks for checking in tonight. Sorry to hear you had storm damage too. I was hit by lightning, I don't know, 7 or 8 years ago. It struck my shop, fried the shop, all the electrical in it, took the overhead line back to the house, went all the way back to the panel, toasted the breaker there, and oddly enough, it blew wall sconces off the wall in my living room, just shattered the glass right off of them. So that was not fun. Aside from that, didn't do a whole lot of damage, except it blew a piece of tin off the building that went completely over my house and landed on the other side, a good, it's at least 30 yards, over the house and to the other side. So the power of lightning is incredible. So I got the pleasure of running a whole new circuit up through the wall, through the attic, out the back of the house, underground, into the building, and then a whole new panel over there. So I forget, or maybe I didn't hear it. Dave, did you have any radio equipment that was damaged other than the antenna?
No. Like I said, there was no coax ran to to the house. The reason it got to the house was old satellite cable that was in the ground. A little piece of it was sticking up. Didn't even realize it was still in the ground down there. Otherwise, it probably just blew that onion apart, and I mean, it blew it apart. I think I put a picture of it on Slack, but no radio damage. I got lucky there.
Well, that's a good deal. Sounds like pretty minimal damage there. Could have been a lot worse. Dave, thanks for checking in tonight. Good to hear from you, buddy. We'll say 7-3, and that brings us to the bottom of our net logger list. So we'll move on to over-the-air check-ins. Are there any over-the-air check-ins for the OARS net? Please come with your call sign both phonetically and the regular way. This is W0ZAC.
WB0OQV, WB0 Oscar Queen Victor, Jim in Maryville.
N0ZPT, November 0 Zulu Papa Tango, Tim, Mobile, I-44, westbound.
Alrighty, we got two there. Let's jump down to the mobile station first, just so we can make sure you stay in the area. N0ZPT, Tim, good evening. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for asking. I'm just, like I said, westbound. Been to Rolla today for work. Getting back to Joplin, home base there. Reference the storm. Sounds like I lucked out compared to a lot of the stories I'm hearing here. We just had some good gusts of wind, a few small branches down, but that was about it. Of course, I live in a sort of a gully, so I went out and stood before that storm got there. I was watching on the radar. It was really quiet, and you could literally hear the roaring up above before the brunt of it got there. It was pretty interesting. But anyway, that's all I got, and good hearing everybody. N0 Zulu Papa Tango.
Well, alrighty, Tim. Thanks for checking in mobile tonight. Feel free to hop in here every Tuesday at 7 p.m. You're making it in the repeater pretty well most of the time. Got a little scratchy there for a second, but no problem copying you. We'll say 7-3 and move up to WB0OQV. Jim, how are you this evening?
W0ZAC, WB0QV. I'm doing okay. We've just kind of been on the go today. Not much there. And I guess got through the storm fairly well. Had a big Bradford pear here in my front, pretty close to the house anyway. Big limb fell out of it and fell on my older pickup. So got that cleaned up finally. Lucky I have a nephew that came over with the chainsaw because we couldn't even get out of our garage. But anyway, put a couple dings in my truck, which that's fixable. At least it didn't fall on my house. And had a pine tree in the back. I had my 160-meter wire antenna strung up to, but got it down and cleaned up and got the wire back up yesterday. So at the end of the day yesterday, I was tuckered out. So I guess compared to others, I fared pretty well. Anyway, say hello to everyone on the net, and back to you, Zach. W0ZAC, WB0QV.
Thank you for checking in tonight, Jim. Glad you didn't have any major damage over there. About the same here. I had a few limbs down, a couple of them, the size of your forearm, or the size of my forearm. Mostly just little stuff in the yard. The 45 minutes I had it all picked up. My neighbor, on the other hand, he has a sizable limb that fell on the overhead line from his house to his shop. It looked quite precarious with this limb hanging atop that line, so no good there. Don't think it damaged anything, just not a good situation for him. Jim, thanks for checking in. We'll say 7-3, and that brings us to the bottom of the list. Are there any more over-the-air check-ins for the OARS net? Please come with your call both the regular way and phonetically. W0ZAC. Let's hold it up right there. We got K5ANW. Daryl, we had a pretty rough copy on you this evening. We're just making it out.
Well, maybe I can help it out a little bit. Is that any better?
That helped it out a bit.
That is all the power my radio has to offer.
That's all it needs right there. Coming in great that time, Daryl. How are you this evening?
I'm doing good. Listen to you talking about the storms. I didn't have any here. Had a little wind, a little rain, but it didn't amount to anything. Didn't lose any, maybe a few leaves in the yard, but that's about it. But it did have a nice rain. Now my son's going to get to mow the yard again here pretty quick.
Well, I'm glad you made it out scot-free. Didn't have any damage there. That's always a relief when you walk out in the morning and make an assessment and decide you didn't get injured. A little rain, good thing to have too. That grass will sprout right up and off you go.
Yeah, it makes me happy, but like I said, my son's the one that mows my yard, so he may not be all that happy about it, but oh well. He likes to push a lawnmower anyway, I guess. That's pretty much all I've got for you, Bubba. The band's been down kind of low here the last few weeks, and I have not been able to check in until tonight. So I thought I'd take advantage of it and say hello to everyone.
Very well. Well, we're sure glad you stopped by. You're sounding good this evening. We'll say 73, Daryl, and we're back at the bottom of the list. So are there any more check-ins for the OARSnet? Please call now.
K0RWD. I wasn't quite that lucky.
K0RWD, good evening, Ron. How you doing? And how did you fare with the storm?
I had three trees, I thought, but I had 5. And this last one was really a booger. And I think I've got everything taken care of now. But I mean, it was a mess. So I was lucky I wasn't hurt, so that's the main thing.
So it sounds like no property damage other than just some downed trees, eh?
Well, I had quite a few chainsaw to get the cut, and it's just I'm glad it's over.
Yeah, awfully warm time of the year to be out doing that too. Funny story, most of you know I work for a door manufacturer, and a few months ago I helped a friend of mine up in Lockwood get a new unit for his house. He was putting together a little rental place, and he sent me a picture Monday morning. Yeah. Sent a picture over and said, hey, can I get a warranty replacement on this door? I had a tree limb about 2.5 inches in diameter, drove straight through it, and it was cracked from the bottom about 2 feet up, just like you'd hit it with a sledgehammer and cracked the door in half. I told him I didn't think that was covered under warranty. Ron, Thanks for checking in tonight. Good to hear from you. We'll say 7-3 and open it up one more time for any over-the-air check-ins. Please call now. This is W0ZAC. Alrighty, well, we'll call that a net. Tonight we had a total of 10 check-ins, including myself. Thank you to all stations who checked in this evening. We look forward to hearing from you next week, right here at 7 p.m. local time. And now for the dad joke of the day. What do you call a row of rabbits when they're moving away? A receding hairline. I'll now close the net and return this repeater to regular amateur radio use. 73, Whiskey 0, Zulu, Alpha, Charlie.